washed away my sins. You washed away my sins.
You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Happy Saturday, y'all. Unfortunately, my Monday sadness, but I had a really good couple days. Hi, buddy. Working through Halloween movies, so you'll be seeing a lot of Halloween reviews coming over the next up really through Halloween. But I watched Megan, or rewatched Megan, because Alea hadn't seen it and she loved it because Megan is wonderful. My review of Megan's actually up on the channel right now if you have not listened to it. I'll be reviewing Megan 2.0. I've seen it already, but I kind of want to rewatch it, so we're going to rewatch that at some point. Gonna watch Sinners this upcoming week. I'm gonna get through the Final Destination movies, so I've got a lot. I will be getting through from now until Halloween. So a lot of Halloween reviews coming, y'all. And then I just conducted some interviews for those of you who weren't live watching the stream. I did another interview with Jennifer Levison. Jennifer, again, thank you so much for taking part of your day to come on this dog and pony show. And I got to go ahead and interview as well Heston Horwin, who went ahead and wrote this film that y'all are going to see next year, The Misadventures of Vince and Hick, which, y'all ain't ready for that fucking movie. It's so good. But before I head off to work, I wanted to go ahead and do a quick stream because AEW Wrestledream is live tonight from St. Louis. I'm so excited. AEW does not miss on pay-per-views. You will not convince me otherwise. There have definitely been like some pay-per-views that have been like a B, maybe a B plus, but like I think that's the floor for most AEW pay-per-views. Like they really don't have bad pay-per-view offerings. So I will be watching this when I get home. I will be smoking quite a bit while I watch it, and I'm giddy. I'm genuinely giddy to see what AEW is going to bring us tonight. So I'm going to go through the card really quick and just give my predictions before I get out of here. So I didn't get a chance to talk about Dynamite slash Collision because of the 3-hour extravaganza this past week. But again, AEW for me has just been really since the Continental Classic last year back in October. They've just been on a roll. And while I would never, I really hate the whole concept that restoring the feeling. I never thought the feeling left, but I think AEW has really been on this incredible ride of momentum this last year, and I'm really excited to see how it manifests and what I think could end up being an all-time show for them. So just real quick, just a few highlights. Chris Statlander, who is our new AEW Women's Champion after winning the championship last month at All Out, was so happy for her. Statlander, or Stat Daddy as she calls herself, fucking deserves it. Such a fan of hers. She's been really an AEW original. The only woman in AEW to hold both the AEW Women's Championship and the TBS Championships. That's a hell of an accomplishment. a hell of a stat for Statlander. And of course, Timeless Toni Storm has been a breakout star. She's been a revelation since she's been in AEW. So out of all the matches, I will say that is my second most anticipated match. I will save what my most anticipated is for later. But their war of words, if there's anything you should check out from this past week's Dynamite, you need to check that out. It's going to be very interesting too to see how the crowd is split in terms of fan support, because the fans, myself included, they love Timeless Toni Storm. She's inappropriate, she's gorgeous, she's fucking talented. The movie nerd in me, her going to the Hollywood starlet, the Turner Classic Movies era, including doing promos with Ben Menowitz, which is still just one of the most insane fucking things I think I've ever seen in wrestling. I love her character. I love Statlander as a performer in the ring. She's gotten a lot more confident in her promo work. So I'm really torn. I'm really torn on this one. Statlander needs to win. There's no reason that Storm should retain or regain the championship. But I'm very excited for the match that those women put on. I think if there wasn't for one other match, it could be match of the night. And quite frankly, it still could be match of the night. Another thing I want to shout out, Claudio Castagnoli had a barn burner with Roderick Strong, just this like a heavy strike filled technical match that really made Claudio look like an absolute monster. A match that I think he really needed. I think Claudio Castagnoli has had a great run in AEW. He's won the Ring of Honor Championship on two separate occasions. Has had some great matches in Ring of Honor. Is a former trios champion. Has had great showings in the Continental Classic. I think Claudio has been great since he's come to AEW. But I think I think a match like that he had against Roderick Strong, I think it's a very fitting match. And I think it's very telling for where our main event could potentially go. But I will go ahead and save that. Actually, I lied. There is one other thing you should really watch from this past week's show. Darby Allin and Jon Moxley had a face-to-face that was straight up like the prison scene from The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite wrestling promos in the last 5 years. I was blown away by it. And one thing that AEW has been really great at doing is making me feel uncomfortable, but intrigued. And I think you need just that little bit of uncomfortable nature kind of combined with your storylines to sometimes elevate things. And Moxley and Darby have had this great back and forth really since Darby's been in the company. It's kind of similar to the work that Darby was doing with Cody, except this is more intense. And I think with Darby Allin climbing out Mount Everest and literally getting hit by a bus, I don't know how Darby Allin is still standing. I don't know how he is still a part of this world. I don't know how he's still fucking wrestling at such a high level. Jon Moxley, it's kind of a running joke amongst AEW fans that is he ever going to get that vacation? I think tonight is kind of the beginning of that. But to kind of go through my official synopsis, or not synopsis, but my official thoughts here. I'm going to run down the card first, and then I'll go through and make my my predictions. So the conglomeration: Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Tomohiro Ishii, love Ishii. They're going to be taking on the Death Riders in Daniel Garcia, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli. I think the Death Riders go ahead and get a win to start off the night. Unfortunately, as much as I love Ishii, I think Ishii is there to take the pin. I'm gonna say Claudio gets the pin, and I think that'll set the tone, and I that'll come back to a prediction I have here in just a moment. But I'm gonna say the Death Riders get that one. Eddie Kingston and Hook are gonna be in action. Looks like they're building them up in the tag team division, which I really like the combination of Hook and Kingston. So they're clearly gonna win that. they've been feuding over the last several weeks, really for the last month or so, since FTR took out Adam Copeland's wife, Beth, with a spike pile driver. Fucking vicious, by the way. I really love heel FTR, and I think the partnership with Big Stokely Hathaway has been great for their heel work, great for the heel characters. I love Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey. I think Jet Speed has been fantastic as a tag team. I think they win the tag titles by this time next year. I think they're tag champions, but I love Jet Speed as a tag team. I'm really torn on this. I think FTR wins by some tomfoolery, but I don't think this is the last match that these two teams have. I could actually see if it were me booking, which Tony Khan, you can totally call me anytime you want for for wrestling booking advice. You know, I'm on the internet. I know more than you. But I would, yeah, AEW, please give me a job. But I think there will be like a 2 out of 3 falls match. If I was booking it, I would book a 2 out of 3 falls match between these two teams, have that main event collision. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, I think FTR gets the win here with some tomfoolery. Moving on, we've got Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne, they take on Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. Harley has been teaming with Chris Statlander, but of course she's defending the AEW Women's Championship tonight. So Willow goes ahead and teams with her. With Blood and Guts upcoming, Ford and Bayne will get the win here. I love Megan Bayne. I think she's been booked incredibly well, the Mega Sis, since she's come to AEW. I'd like to see Ford get the win. I'd like to see Ford get the pin on Willow. And I love me some Willow Nightingale, and I believe she will be champion next year. But in order to build up the tag team, the women's tag team titles, in terms of that tournament coming up and the Blood and Guts match coming up as well, I think Ford and Bayne get the win here. A Tornado Trios match, we get the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP versus The Demand with Ricochet and GOA, Gates of Agony. So the Hurt Syndicate got their win back in that 6-man street fight on Dynamite this past week. And then, but the Demand went ahead and won it all out. So this is kind of the rubber match. I think Ricochet gets the pin on MVP, and I think the Demand gets a big win here. And I think from here, the Demand will move into a feud with the Ops for those AEW Trios Championships, which they should win. By the way, I love the Ops, but I think the Demand could go ahead and continue to elevate those Trios titles. And I'll kind of dive into that more, but I think the Demand gets the win here. A match that really should have taken place a couple months ago, but because Jamie Hayter got hurt after Double or Nothing, we've been slowly rebuilding back to this match, and it's finally here. Tekla, the Toxic Spider, representing the Triangle of Madness, goes one-on-one with Jamie Hayter. I love Jamie Hayter so much. I still argue that she could have been the one to beat Mercedes at Wrestledream. I do think that we get Jamie Hayter and Timeless Toni Storm one-on-one, and I think Hayter ends up winning that match to become number one contender. I think Hayter should be the one to beat Statlander when we get there. I don't think she should be beating Statlander now. I don't want that. As a matter of fact, what I would actually probably do, I'll get back to that. Anyways, but this is kind of a hard one for me to call, to be completely honest. Mercedes Moné threw out an open challenge for her TBS championship to any champion to come challenge her. So I'm curious who's going to answer the challenge, but I think it should be Hayter. I think Hayter eventually should be the one to dethrone Mercedes Moné. She just passed 509 days as TBS Women's Champion, so she has officially broken Jade Cargill's record with the TBS Championship. So now we're on the clock. Now it's a matter of when is Mercedes going to drop the strap, and I think it should be the Hater. I think you could have, if you book this right, you could have Hater get the win over Tekla here, Triangle of Madness and Megan Bayne and Ford win Blood and Guts. Hater doesn't take that pin, but she could still challenge Mercedes Moné and win the championship, win the TBS championship at World's End. If I'm booking, that's how I do it, because I think Mercedes should drop the title before the end of the year. And yeah, and then you could have Mercedes take on Statlander at Revolution for the TBS for the AEW Women's Championship. And the story there can be that Statlander has never beaten Mercedes Moné, and so that's like that last demon she needs to go ahead, to go ahead and conquer, to go ahead and have a successful title reign. So if I'm booking it here, I have Hater beat Tekla here after an intense match. I think these women are going to have a hell of a match, so I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table. Brodito, AEW continuing their incredible trend of putting people together in tag teams that I didn't know would work as a tag team, because Bandito, my wrestler of the year, by the way, between his match with Konosuke Takeshita and oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Bandito's been amazing. Bandito's been fucking incredible as Ring of Honor champion, and Brody King in the best shape he's been in. I've watched Brody King for years, but he's in the best shape he's ever been in. They work so well as a tag team. I'm so happy that Buddy Matthews, Brody King's his other tag team partner in the Hounds of Hell, is on his way back, because Brody King and Buddy Matthews, they deserve a run as tag team champions. But I've loved Brodito's reign. Konosuke Takeshita, the Alpha, just beating Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP Championship, which is crazy that we have the AEW Continental Champion and the Rainmaker, the Unified Champion, pardon me, that we have Okada and Takeshita teaming up. So I think that it's crazy, because there is a world where Takeshita and Okada beat Brodito here. There is a world where that happens. But personally, I think that we are building towards Okada, Takeshita, winner take all. I think that's happening at Wrestle Kingdom in January. I think that is the end game here. We're just under what would be about 3 months to Wrestle Kingdom. You can get there. You can extend. You can do the slow burn, because Takeshi's turning face. He's turning face, and his face turn is going to be otherworldly when that shit happens. I can't wait to see Takeshita as a face. And I think with all this heel work he's done, he'll be a more capable face. So I think Okada takes a rare pin here. I think Bandito might even be the one to get the pin, but I think that Brodito go ahead and retain the tag team championships here. Moving on to the 500K match, the Young Bucks. Pretty crazy to hear the Young Bucks actually talking about kind of mulling retirement. They are our founding fathers for AEW. I'm really curious when the Bucks do retire. I think by 2028, I think the Bucks are retired from, full time in ring competition. Are you ever really retired in wrestling? But I think the Bucks are. I think they are starting to wind down, because I think Kenny Omega will be retired by then. I think the Bucks will be retired by then, but I think they'll definitely be helping out. Obviously, in AEW still, being helping out with booking and all that. But Jurassic Express is just reformed. I really like that they're not calling him Jungle Boy anymore. It's just Jungle Jack Perry. I really like that. And I'm so happy Luchasaurus is not just healthy, but back in the ring. Because we almost lost Luchasaurus. Like that was scary. So I'm so happy that Jurassic Express is back. I think they end up. I think they end up being the ones to dethrone Brodito eventually, but I think they get off on the right foot here in terms of winning a big match on a big stage. I think Jurassic Express gets the win here. All right, moving on to the TNT Championship. Cal Fletcher, Mark Briscoe, 5 for the TNT Championship. They have straight up split their series so far, 2 wins apiece. I love Mark Briscoe. I fucking love Mark Briscoe. His the 10,000 tack match he just had with or the tables and tacks match he had it all out against MJF was a fucking banger. I think Mark Briscoe has been it's been really cool to see, you know, obviously the tragic death of his brother Jay, but to see how Mark has transformed from a tag team specialist into a single star. The crowd is behind him. They love him. And I think I think he will show out tonight. Kyle Fletcher had the performance of his fucking career at All Out last month against Hangman Page. Even though in my heart of hearts, I knew Hangman would retain, there were a couple times I was like, oh, wow, they actually got me on that. So I'm loving Kyle Fletcher. I love his association with Don Callis being probably the second most important, third most behind, I would say Takeshita and Okada, but his association with Don Callis has been incredibly entertaining and fun. But here, I think Fletcher gets to win here and continues his ascent and continues to add to his legacy as a great TNT champion. But I'm excited to see this match because Fletcher and Briscoe have not had a bad match one-on-one. So I'm so stoked to see how it turns out, but I've got Fletcher winning here. Moving on to the aforementioned AEW Women's World Championship match, we've got Chris Statlander, the champion, taking on Timeless Toni Storm. I love Toni Storm. I've already hyped her up. I love Chris Statlander. Statlander should retain here. There should be no tomfoolery. Statlander should retain. I'm very curious what a loss for Toni Storm could do. Do we get like a more heel Timeless Toni Storm? Does she have like a psychotic break and potentially change her gimmick up to go to like a different decade? Like there's several directions this could go, but I've got Statlander winning here. And I think this could be the second best match of the night. I'm very excited to see what these women come up with and how they show out. So here's where it gets very interesting. I'm on the AEW site and it has the matches like, you know, laid out. I have no idea if this is the match order, but if it were me, and I am very traditional in the sense that I think the title should more often than not be your main event, I don't think that should be the case here. Hangman Adam Page takes on Samoa Joe. Hangman Page giving Samoa Joe a title match because without the help of Joe and the Ops at Allin, Hangman back in July, Hangman isn't the AEW Men's World Champion. So I appreciate the fact that he acknowledged that. But and if you remember, back when Joe was champion at Revolution last year, Hangman Page tapped out to Samoa Joe. Not Swerve wasn't able to break it up, but Hangman has not beaten Samoa Joe at any point in AEW. So there's your story there as well. Samoa Joe's been just fantastic since he came back to Ring of Honor and joined AEW. You know, former, became the television champion, the king of television, has been a TNT champion, is a current trios champion with the Ops, former AEW world champion. Samoa Joe's had like really a career resurgence in AEW after many saying that he was done and washed up after how he got injured in WWE and how he was booked in WWE. I'm very excited for this matchup. These two men have incredible chemistry, and they've always showed out. So I'm very curious to see how this match goes. But I've got Hangman retaining and continuing to solidify himself as a fantastic AEW champion. But I'm very excited for this matchup. And then what I believe will be the main event, and if I was booking it, will be the main event. We've got Jon Moxley, leader of the Death Riders, taking on Darby Allin in an I Quit match. So I Quit matches are, can be a mixed bag. You get something like The Rock and Mankind at Royal Rumble 99, where The Rock hit Mankind, Mick Foley, 16 times with a steel chair. It was only supposed to be like 7 or 8. Great job, Rock, you asshole. You can get your matches like JBL versus John Cena at Judgment Day. I Quit matches, obviously going back to like the NWA days, like, Stan Hansen and like Terry Funk. Like, you can have some like very interesting matches in terms of your last man, not last man saying your I Quit matches. I'm honestly a little scared of what Darby Allin and Jon Moxley are going to do, because they're both so fucking nuts and so insane, and they love AEW and they love wrestling so much. So I don't really know what could be capable enough to make one of these fuckers quit. So that's where my fear comes in, because I really don't know what these guys are going to do with each other. I think Darby Allin really needs this win. Jon Moxley has been the lead of the lead of the Death Riders. He just recruited Daniel Garcia. Fuck y'all. He had a great AEW championship reign that started at Wrestledream last year, where he retired Bryan Danielson from full-time competition, which that still blows my mind. That was just a shocker of a match and of an ending. But I think Moxley he's been the American ace. I know Athena calls herself like the American Joshi. Moxley's right there with her. Moxley's been a revelation, whether it's his work in GCW, whether it's his work in New Japan, or whether it's his work in AEW. Ever since he's jumped ship to AEW, he has been the dude. And I think that AEW has been better because of it. And I think the match that him and Hangman Page had at All In, that might be a top maybe 15 title match for me, like a world title match. I fucking adore that match. It's just so great. Darby Allin has really shown out on the big stage of Wrestledream. He's kind of been missing Wrestledream, whether it's his match he had against Christian Cage for the TNT Championship, 2 out of 3 falls last year, or I think it was like the year before, whether it was his match he had against Brody King, which was an absolute banger. Darby Allin has been incredible at Wrestledream and on these big stages. I don't know who, like, I can't really see either guy quitting, so I don't know how this ends, but my prediction is Darby Allin is going to win. He will find a way somehow to make Jon Moxley say I quit. And then I think the Death Riders, mirroring the 1 year anniversary of Moxley and the Death Riders turning on Bryan Danielson, I think they will go ahead and turn on Jon Moxley and kick him out. And Claudio or Pac will be the new leader of the Death Riders. So yeah, y'all, those are my predictions for Wrestledream. I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta go to work. But everyone, enjoy Wrestledream. I will have a review for it probably on Monday. But everyone, stay safe, take care of each other, give someone a hug, give someone a compliment. We can all use more positivity. I hope you all have a great Saturday, and never forget, as always, to keep it real. Thank you so much, y'all. I will talk to you on Monday. Have a great one.